You can hear the Muslim call to prayer just echoing throughout the entire city. That, along with the rushing river, I mean, just the ambiance of this place. This morning we woke up in our 14th country of Bosnia and Herzegovina. The city of Mostar is an ancient settlement with a very rich history. It's been ruled over by the Austro-Hungarian Empire, the Ottoman Empire, more recently the SFR of Yugoslavia, and is now a free republic of Bosnia and Herzegovina. Now obviously with so many empires being here, there's a very eclectic mix of different influences. But as you look over my shoulder, you see all of these towers on both banks of the river. These are all mosques, and there's a lot of Muslim influence here, but then there's also a lot of Christian influence. We see an Orthodox church right in front of us as well. So there's just really cool mix of influence, and we're excited to see how all of that history has made what Mostar is today. The Neretva River runs through this entire city, and it is absolutely incredible how clear this water is. When we look down and see people swimming right on the edge of the water, you can see all the way down to the bottom. It's crystal clear and it's absolutely beautiful. Mostar has an extremely rich ethnic and religious history. It's currently coexisted by three main groups: the Orthodox Serbs, the Muslim Bosniaks, and the Catholic Croats. This wasn't always peaceful, obviously, very recent history, very tragic history. But right now, there's this very interesting peaceful coexistence, and we're excited to see how all of those influences of the main ethnic groups that are here influence the city today.
So would you like me to teach you how we drink this coffee here?
Yes, please.
Yes, absolutely.
The only coffee that we serve here is traditional Bosnian coffee, because our goal is to give our guests a bit of tradition. Many people even here mistake it with Turkish coffee. They do look the same, but the process of making is completely different. How we here prepare the Bosnian coffee is that I put coffee powder inside this pot. I boil the water separately. When the water is boiled, I pour it over those coffee grounds, and I boil it just once all together. And now this looks dark and muddy, it's very thick inside, because all those coffee grounds are on top and you need to put them down. And the first step is to put some cold water on top, because it's heavier than this boiling coffee, and as it falls down, it creates vacuum inside the pot and pulls the grounds down. And then you take the cream and you put it inside your cup. This cream we call kaymak, and it is the best part of this coffee. We don't want it to get lost. And after that, you just simply pour the coffee. There you go. Now your coffee has been served. This is your dessert with coffee, Turkish delight with rose flavor. And if you need sugar, it is right here.
That's so flavorful. Oh my gosh.
It's like so delicate, and like there's so much intent that goes into making it. You just appreciate it so much more.
Have you ever tasted anything like that?
And one way you're supposed to eat it is with sugar cube. That is so good with the sugar. Oh my gosh. You have to try that.
Just dip a little edge. It just melts. So this bridge right here, it's actually not the old bridge. It looks a lot like it. It has that same crescent moon design or shape around it. This is a very distinguishable feature with bridges designed in Ottoman architecture. This bridge is known as the Kriva Cuprija, and ironically, it's actually older than the old bridge. It's basically the small version of the most famous and iconic feature of the city. A lot less crowded though.
The path is made of stone. It can get very slippery, so just make sure you've got good shoes and watch your step.
So on both sides leading up to the old bridge is a bazaar, which basically just means a market in a Middle Eastern country. But when we were talking about before the Turkish influence from the time the Ottomans were here, this bazaar is definitely an example of that. We We made it on top of the famous Old Bridge, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Not only is this the most famous landmark here in Mostar, it's actually the reason that the city is called Mostar. So the name in the Bosnian language for this bridge is Stari Most. And I think someone's about to jump off this bridge, which is so crazy. They just dived right into the water.
He's waiting for more money to jump. I've heard they wait for about 25 to 50 euros before they make a jump.
So the special forces that were tasked with defending this bridge were known as the Mostari, hence the name Mostar, guardians of the bridge. And just as we got in here, a storm started rolling in and the winds are just really whipping in our face, but we're also wanting to see these guys jump. Apparently they've been here for an hour now collecting tips. And I don't blame them, they gotta get paid if they're gonna jump all the way down here. This is an extremely long height. I don't even know what it would be. If I had to just guess off the top of my head, I would probably say somewhere between 75 and 80 feet, but it could be even more than that. I honestly don't know. I give these guys credit for collecting their tips. They deserve it. We've just been very intently watching these guys. They're just asking everyone who passes for tips. They're asking for 30 euros to actually jump. All right. We gotta help the cause. No one's paying. This is crazy.
Jump! Thank you very much, my friend. Get ready! Half minute!
Šef ima lute više da skoči.
Hoćemo malo?
Ja, ali preuzmi ti tu stranu.
Dalje, vamo se. Idemo!
I have to say that was pretty cool and well worth the wait. And the kuna for that. Good job, boys.
That was pretty awesome. I went down to the ground level, Sydney stayed up here, so we got multiple angles. That is a jump. Also a little tip, if you come up to the old bridge here in Mostar, it's very, very slippery and there's these weird kind of steps in between. We've seen a lot of people completely trip and fall. I've stumbled a few times.
Tennis shoes are well suited here in Mostar.
Yeah. So thunder has been rumbling the entire time we've been on the bridge. We think it's probably smart to go inside somewhere for a little bit, but it's supposed to clear up. We're excited to see if we can get back on the bridge for sunset later tonight. Even though we've been traveling for almost a year now, I really don't think we've been to a place that feels this culturally different than what we're used to. Particularly because of the Ottoman influence here, all of the Muslim culture that is observed and respected, it's very, very cool for us to be in a place like that. Because where we come from, there's not a lot of that influence. We just love the view on this balcony. We can't get over, when you just look over the horizon, you see so many towers from mosques. I'm gonna count them right now. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 in view, and we actually know there's a couple behind this Marriott hotel that's kind of blocking everything. You just had to go there, Marriott, didn't you? This is a perfect view before that. But it's pretty amazing that it's just so entwined in the culture. This Islamic influence that originated from the Ottoman Empire and still exists today. We've heard the call to prayer 2 times today as we've been outside, and it's surreal just hearing that echoing through the streets. We've been traveling for almost a full year. We've been to a lot of unique places, a lot of places that have just kind of made us stop in our tracks and appreciate all of the beauty, but this might be the most unique place we've been to. It feels like we're in Turkey or, you know, just a Middle Eastern style country, but we're right here in Europe, only a 2.5-hour drive from the Croatian coast. We're kind of sad we only have like a day and a half here because we'd love to go out and explore around the city as well. There's some excursions that you can do within 25 to 30 minutes and see more of this beautiful mountain scenery. That was insane. That was the definition of a feast. That was so much food that they just brought on that big heavy platter for us. Cheese, meats, vegetables, those grilled peppers. They were all just so fantastic. There's no doubt that this bridge is the must-see attraction here in Mostar. This actually isn't the original old bridge. It was tragically destroyed during the siege of Mostar during the Yugoslav wars. However, it was reconstructed so truly to the original form that if you look at pictures of before and after, you can barely tell there's any difference. They really tried to make sure that they stayed true to the history of this bridge, especially being a UNESCO World Heritage Site. They wanted to make sure that the history was preserved as much as possible. During our research process of the old bridge, we saw a lot of videos of the people jumping down off of the bridge. Nothing really does it justice until you see it in person. They come so far down off that bridge. I can't even believe it's legal at this point. But you can tell they're professional divers, they know what they're doing. When we got here, we saw there was this gate on the outside of the bridge, and then we saw this like diving, I don't know what you call it, diving structure over here. And I was worried just for a second that they stopped allowing the divers off of the old bridge and that they kind of, you know, had a designated area for diving over here. Luckily that wasn't the case. They're still diving from up there, and that right there is something you absolutely can't miss in Mostar. I couldn't believe when he actually left his feet and was coming down. Goosebumps.
We're seeing people go out on these dinghies up the river, but our Airbnb is up the river and we've seen them stop just before our place, so it doesn't take you that far. Now I'm not sure how far it goes south, but it's something maybe we'll have to see next time, just to have a new perspective of Mostar and something to look forward to. The water here is so blue, it would be really fun to go out there on the water and see it up close. The Neretva River actually does lead out to the Adriatic.
There goes the dinghy.
Okay then. The Neretva River does lead out to the Adriatic, but most of this water is coming from up in the mountains in Bosnia and Herzegovina. See, the people are already back. It's a quick, maybe minute ride. I don't know how much they're charging, but we'll save that for next time. Also, these dinghy drivers are crazy.
Yeah, I want to go on one of these boats where they're doing like the donuts. That looks really fun.
Yeah, until you fly off.
You know, a little pro tip that we've learned is that sometimes it's a really good idea to stay overnight here in Mostar, because a lot of the people coming into the city during the day are on day trips, either from Croatia or from Serbia or from any of the countries that are near Bosnia, because this is such a destination because of the beautiful scenery. But if you actually stay a night or two here, the nights are really pleasant. There's not as many people around and it's just very peaceful. You can get into all the nice restaurants. I mean, literally there's like a quarter of the amount of people on the bridge right now. Closing thoughts on our day here in Mostar, we were really impressed with just how welcome we felt. This is a very touristy place, but it doesn't feel like, you know, you've got all the pickpocketers, you're going down the bazaar, the people that try to get you in your shops. You have none of that. Everyone's really friendly, really happy to have you here. The flexibility with which you can pay different currencies, I think that's really interesting. And it's just such a beautiful place. All of it together is definitely a place we want to come back to, and I think as far as a touristy location goes, the most comfortable we felt taking the camera around, vlogging, taking all these shots. It's been a real delight.
I think Max and I have realized that what makes a place is definitely the food. It's got to have good food, but it's also the people. And we encountered the sweetest, most helpful, kind people here in Mostar. And it really made the trip for us.
And just digging more into that idea of everyone being so friendly and welcoming here, the very first impression we had of Mostar was when we got to the bus station after having a 2-hour delayed bus from Croatia. We found a taxi driver that was extremely nice to us. We showed him where we had to go. We had no Wi-Fi. We were kind of wondering if we were going to be able to get there by walking or if we needed to take a cab. He told us right away the price that we were going to have to pay for his cab, didn't try to upcharge us whatsoever, and said we could pay in kuna, Croatian kuna, which was the only currency we had on hand. Just so friendly. He was definitely a very nice person, and sometimes you get we've had run-ins with cab drivers where they try to just take as much money as possible from you when they know you're a tourist. Clearly this guy knew we were tourists, and still he was very respectful and did not take more than was needed for the cab ride. We were extremely impressed with his kindness and his service. And then today, during our feast of a lunch, we actually were going to order a salad on top of it because we wanted to try a few different things. So we wanted to try a salad and then we're going to get the meat platter. Right away the waiter said, "You don't need the salad, don't order the salad. This is so much food that I'm about to bring you, you're not going to be able to eat it. So just let's skip the salad." And at first we were kind of like, oh, I got no salad, I guess. But I'm so glad that he said that, because with how much food we got, there was no way we could have eaten the salad too. It just would have been wasted money. So again, instead of trying to upcharge us and take as much money as possible, he said, "You know what, you're not going to need that salad. I want you to enjoy your time at my restaurant," which by the way is called Irma Tima. Can't recommend it enough. So much food for such a little price, and oh my god, just the quality of the food was so good. And let's not forget about our coffee as well. When we went to the traditional Bosnian coffee place, she talked about how it was her family that started this business, and she showed us exactly how you're supposed to have the coffee. She gave a step-by-step tutorial basically on how you're supposed to prepare it for yourself. We enjoyed it so much, we were sure to give her a tip. It's just these little things, this touch, this personal touch that people have. We felt so welcome. We enjoyed everything that we experienced, and we can't wait to come back to Mostar. We're absolutely coming back for a longer period of time because I just can't gush about this place enough. It's so welcoming. You feel safe here. You don't spend that much money, you know, not more than you need to, like a lot of touristy places try to rip you off. Even though it's very touristy, you got a lot of day trips coming in, a lot of people just passing through. It doesn't feel like that as far as how you're treated, and I really, really appreciated that, and I can't recommend Mostar enough.